The most recent FNAF games are very prone to softlocks, with the main reason being that there isn't really a specific end condition like there is in the original ones that would cause a softlock to fail. With that being said, I've also wanted to see if it's possible to potentially bypass this unintentional failsafes in the original games. But before I even get to those, let's cover these 3 easiest games: Secret of the Mimic, Security Breach, and Ruin. With Secret of the Mimic being the most recent game, you should hope there's a lot of bug fixes learning from their previous mistakes. But after moving through a really long intro sequence, there is a way to skip this showtime sequence. But I don't know how to do that. Okay, time to find a locker. And getting just to this locker, and if you simply just get in and out of the locker, this can happen. And we're softlocked. You can't see anything and neither can I. Now the reason this softlocks the game is because unlike Security Breach, which would teleport you to your save station after falling into the void, this game has no save stations or any real preventions of if you fall into the void, because I imagine they did think it would happen, so you just keep falling into the void for the rest of eternity. Now like I just said, in Security Breach, if you fall into the void, you'll get teleported right back to your save station. That's if you even have one. Oh, I forgot. This one might lag a lot. So for the first softlock, the way we can get out of balance is just by simply jumping before we get into Freddy, because for some reason that deloads the whole game. And then if we just walk in a direction, we'll just end up falling. Did we do it? I think we did it. I can't get out of Freddy. And I am constantly falling out of the map. I also wanted to show one that didn't require falling out of balance to change it up a bit. And to explain the second softlock, I'm going to skip to just before we fall out of balance in the first one. And this time we're going to follow the path to Medbay. And in Freddy, if we move in just the right way on these stairs, we can get on top of them. And if we walk basically forward and land about here, we're now softlocked. This is because we can't get out of Freddy, and Freddy can't jump or crouch, and the power also doesn't go down in this section because it's hard-coded to go down later. Now these first 2 FNAF games were very easy to softlock, but Ruin makes it a bit harder as it's way more polished than the other 2. So if we skip to the elevator shaft and get to the top of it, and then spam W and space near these objects, we can get on top of them, and if we walk in a certain direction, we can get trapped behind more debris. You can't jump and you can't get out of bounds because in this game they actually solved the issue by adding a death plane. But with those free roam games down, it's time for the harder ones. This was the first game that didn't follow a strict time limit like the older games, and instead followed a more of a storyline approach. And while I thought that would have meant it was easier for me to softlock, I could barely find any ways to do so, except the odd comment that they got softlocked on night 2, which I think was just a bug in a previous version. But there was one way I found to completely softlock it. And the way to do that was dropping my frames down in the final section of the game. Alright, let's see if this is going to work. We're at 1 FPS. I don't think this is going to work, but you know, it's fine. It's good to test. I'm going to keep this going for like a few minutes and then unfreeze the FPS. I think we've done it, but I don't want to risk it. Yeah, okay, cool. It's softlocked. I was dead worried about this one not working. This softlocks me because if in some way the game skips this specific frame of the scooper animation, it means it doesn't fade to red or even really mark the character as being scooped, and as it isn't time sensitive, with this being the only end condition to the night, we just end up staring at Ennard for an uncomfortable amount of time wondering what to do. Now we are starting to move to the more time sensitive games, with the easiest one of them being FNAF 4. The biggest issue with the first 4 games is that there are 2 failsafes that will happen, which is either the night ending or getting jump scared. So as each night will end in one way or another, how do we go about softlocking the game? And to put it simply, it's by softlocking in a place that doesn't have one of these failsafes. And while there are 2 different places in this game that aren't nights, one of them, the plush trap minigame, still has one of these failsafes and sets a timer, and you can also get jump scared. This means the post-night sequences are the only place we can actually softlock, as that has no end conditions other than the brother jump scaring us. But it's specifically the jump scare endings that allow me to softlock the game, because at the end of each of these post-night sequences, the text "tomorrow is another day" is the actual thing that brings us to the next level. So if we skip this by holding down either Control, Enter or Space and rapidly left clicking, we can completely softlock. I think I did it. Yeah, okay, that was so quick to softlock. I'm trying to move around. You know, normally you'd be in the night by now. This softlocks the game because it skips setting a variable that actually lets the cutscene end. But now it's onto the final easy original FNAF game, FNAF 3. FNAF 3 is another game that I can use something that isn't nights to softlock the game, and in this case it's the minigames. The one I need for this softlock is BB's Air Adventure, because after progressing through to this specific section with this ghost child and jumping off the side while holding right, we can end up here. 1 minute. We end up here, which results in us getting completely softlocked as we can't clip into anywhere and also can't walk anywhere or jump high enough to escape. And as there's no time limit to stop this softlock, it's perfect for me. However, this is where anything easy ends with FNAF 1. As you may expect, with this game there are no post-night sequences or basically anything other than the nights, and this causes a big problem because how do you softlock a game that has 2 failsafes that will always trigger? And the way to do it is by softlocking the game right at 6 AM so it can't progress past the screen. However, this brings up even more questions. The main one of those being, how do you softlock at 6 AM if normally it just brings you to the next night? Well, luckily for me, that's a system we can exploit in this game, because this game always adds 1 to the counter anytime you beat a night. So after we beat night 7, the current night counter is updated to 8. And as you may expect, this is as high as the counter will go because that isn't a legit night 8. And even though it's a higher number than other ones, it's the exact same difficulty as night 6. However, at the moment, completing the night isn't the issue. The main thing is, how do we get to a night that just doesn't exist? The way we're going to be doing this is by exploiting how the main menu works. See, normally it shows the current night number when you're hovering over the continue button, but if you were to hover over continue for 1 frame and on the next frame have a completely different option selected, night 8 will briefly show on the continue text, and if we use this to our advantage by selecting continue and time it exactly so that night 8 text is showing when you enter the level, as there's a subtle 20 frame delay, it means we can actually play night 8. Oh, I did it. Can you not see my screen? And this took me about an hour to perform, which took the life out of me, but I'm not going to play legit, I'm being honest. This video is to see if we can softlock. But after we actually cheese the night, this happens. Yeah, it's just broken. That was difficult to perform. Oh, okay. I mean, what I can really do is just exit out. Now, why does this softlock the game? Well, from what I can imagine, as I'm not completely sure, is that as the game is hard-coded to not go above night 8, the game kind of just freaks out and has no idea where to put the player, so it just leaves you there for the rest of eternity. These last few games are less reliable, or at least they are for me, and while FNAF 2 has the exact same night 8 system as FNAF 1, it's a small bit different to that game because instead of it being the exact same difficulty as its night 6, this one only has Foxy, and when you pull up the cameras, you can't do anything else and just die to Foxy. Now, I spent hours, and I mean hours, trying to get this down, and after getting it twice, I died both of the times. Once to flipping the camera because I thought it would softlock the game. Oh my god! So apparently, this only has Foxy in it, but it softlocks if I go like this. So I'm gonna sit here for like however long it takes. But I just died to Foxy, and the second time I just died to Foxy again, even after I flashed him. And I imagine I did it wrong, but that's not the main thing here. That instead would be that after 4 to 5 hours of straight attempts trying to get another attempt at this, it just didn't happen. And what I'd love to find out if this was possible, I don't need to. There's multiple videos online that shows night 8 being possible and a softlock occurring. Now though, there are 2 last games in my list and I couldn't find a legit way to softlock either of them, so let me quickly go through them. The first of the 2 is FNAF 6, and well, it's technically possible to softlock. The only way that I could find to do it is by changing the save to be read only, and that kind of destroys that whole purpose of being legit. And this game seems like it would be the easiest to softlock because of how many things that aren't nice. But until something is found, this is being marked as unsoftlockable. And for UCN, I couldn't think of a single way to softlock the game as it's just nice. But even if we're able to glitch other things like the animatronic numbers, it doesn't change anything. So that's also unsoftlockable. I also wanted to give a big shout out to the videos I watched that helped me find these softlocks, so their links will be in the description below. But other than that, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe, or I don't know.